Hi, this is Kelly from 1-2 Plus Me and You, and today I'm going to show you how to make an insert for your purse that will hold your baby supplies. For me, my son is 2.5, so I've gone from the diaper bag to now a large purse, and it seems like I can't find the things that I need in that large purse because of the baby items. So I'm going to be making an insert that can be added to any purse or large bag and be taken out and when I don't have my son with me, and I won't need to carry diapers around when I don't have a child with me. I went out and I got some cotton polyester blend material for this project, and what you'll need to do is cut two pieces that are 35 inches by 10 inches, two pieces that are 35 inches by 7 inches, two that are 5 inches by 5 inches, then two that are 4 inches by 5 inches, another two that are 2.5 inches by 5 inches, and then you will need two that are 7 inches by 3.5 inches. So everything that you're cutting two of. And then you're going to need to buy some bias tape. This is just something that I had on hand, so I really got the fabric to match my bias tape. This is a light blue. It's about a 1 inch thick. You could go with a 1/2 inch instead of the 1 inch, which is just fine. And you will need less than 6 yards, but since you have to buy it in 3-yard packages, then you'll want to buy 2 packages. But really, you're just going to be a little short of 6 yards, so it's really not going to be that much extra that you have. So 1 yard of material is plenty for what you'll need here, and again 2 packages of bias tape. And I will tell you how much of it to cut as we go on, which is a little bit easier to do instead of cutting it when you get started. So for the first step, you are going to want to take the 2 pieces that are 4 inches by 5 inches, and you're just going to put the right sides of them together. You'll want to pin along, of course, the 3 sides to make sure that it doesn't move. When you sew, you are going to want to sew down the 5 inch, the 4 inch, and the 5 inch. Of course, back stitching on both the beginning and the ending of that. And then you are going to leave one of the 4 inch sides open. Obviously that will be where you'll flip through, but then also you'll be attaching the bias tape to the top. So here is a picture of the first pocket after I've gone through and sewn the 5 inch side, the 4 inch side, the 5 inch side, and then back stitched. Looks like I got a little extra. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to trim the edges here, and then I'm going to flip it through once I take the pins out. Now I've gone ahead and taken the bias tape and I've cut a 5 inch strip. And again, since it's double folded, I'm going to take this raw edge that I did not sew, and I'm going to open up the bias tape and I'm going to kind of put it inside and fold it over. And when I measure each side, they should be equal, and it should be about 3/4 of an inch on each side. What I did now, and I just put pins in it to show you because I'm kind of holding the camera with one hand, is that I folded the extra pieces, or the extra on the sides, to the back of the pocket. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to press it with an iron, but again I'm going to put the pins in now just so that you can see what it'll look like. So and now I'm going to do this to the pocket that is 5 by 5. I'm going to do the exact same thing. This one is a little bit easier because all the sides are the same. So again, I'm going to put the wrong sides together. I'm going to pin it all the way around except for one side, and it doesn't matter which side because again, this is the same. And then I'm going to sew along the 3 edges, backstitch and backstitch at the beginning and end. Then when I'm done, I will snip the corners, and I will take the pins out and pull it right side out like I did with this one. And then what I will do next is cut another piece of bias tape, but this time it will be 6 inches. So I'm going to measure 6 inches and do the same thing that I did with this, putting it at the top, the part where I didn't sew, and having a little bit hang off each side. Then I'm going to fold those under, and again I'm going to press those with my iron. Again, just to show you, here is the second pocket, the 5x5, that I did the exact same thing. The steps were the same as it were for the smaller pocket. And again, I'm going to just put those off to the side. For the next step, you are going to take the 2 pieces of 35 by 7, and you're going to put the wrong sides together. So you're going to make it look like the right sides are on the outside, I guess you can say. And you're going to sew all along all 4 sides. Before doing so, of course, you're going to want to pin all the way around just to make sure that the edges or the pieces stay together. And then you're going to take your bias tape and you are going to cut a piece that is 35 inches. So first step, put the pieces together, pin them, and then sew all the way around. No need to backstitch anywhere. Now I've already gone through and sewed all the way around. I've taken my bias tape, opened it up as I did before, but because my bias tape is the same length as this piece, you're not going to have any extra hanging off to the sides. Once you've done so, now you will want to pin it so it stays in place, and then you are going to sew this securely to the top. So right along the bottom edge, the middle, it's really up to you, but you will backstitch at the beginning and of course at the end. And then when you're done, we're going to start attaching the little pockets that you made onto this piece. Before you take your 2 pockets and attach them to the bigger piece that you've been working on, you'll want to go ahead and sew down the bias tape. And so as you can see, I went ahead and attached the bias tape to the 2 pockets. Now you should have 3 pieces that have the bias tape attached to them at the top. Now what we're going to do is take that pocket you made, the one that was 4 inches by 5 inches, and notice I still have my pins in there, just to make sure everything stays in place, and you are going to measure where that's going to go. So you're taking your measuring tape, you're going to measure about 5.5 inches here, and then you want to measure 1 inch up, and that's where that pocket is going to go. So once you've measured 5.5 inches and 1 inch up, you're going to go ahead and pin this down, and you're going to take your machine and you're going to sew down 3 sides, and of course leaving this side open because that's your pocket. Now you have your 1 packet attached, and again that was the 4 inch by 5 inch pocket. Now you are going to be taking your 5 inch by 5 inch pocket and you're going to measure from the right side of the fabric inward, and it's going to be about 8.5 inches that you're going to be measuring, and again 1 inch from the bottom, and that is where this pocket will go. Same thing, pin it around, sew it from top down, over and up. Do not sew across on the top, and you'll backstitch at the beginning and at the end. One thing I also forgot to mention is that you will need some type of clip. I like to use their carabiner clips. I think they're quite handy. So you'll need 2 of these. I picked these up at the dollar store, so they're easy to find. What you're going to need to do next is find the 2 pieces that were the longer small pieces. So they're 7 inches by 3.5 inches. And what we're going to do is we're going to fold those into making kind of a, like how we make the straps, some different things. So you're going to take it and you're going to fold it in a little bit this way, fold it in this way, and then you're going to fold it in this way. And it might be easier to iron it so that it stays down. And then you're going to turn one of the edges in, so that way when you sew it along here and along here, then it looks nice. This part will be tucked in, so it doesn't need to be folded. But you'll be doing that with both of these. And then the next step will require you to use your clips. Again, it could be this type of clip. It could be a swivel clip. It could be various types of clips that you want to use. Now you have 2 perfectly good little straps here. But what you're going to do is take that edge that you sewed and you're going to fold it in about 1 inch. If you're using something other than one of these carabiner clips, you'll want to put the clip in and then sew. But because this can easily be attached, I don't need to attach it before I sew. So now what I'm going to do is just put this through. I'm only going to sew, of course, this top part. I don't want to sew along the sides because I want to make a little loop to attach this clip. So I'm just going to sew along the top, and I'm going to do the same thing to this one. Again, find that edge that you sewed, fold it about 1/2 inch, and then just sew along the top part of the bend there. Here now is a picture of what it looks like. Again, these are the opened ends, and I just folded this and so it's 1 inch here, and then sewed along the top. And then these, you're easy just to slide right inside, and then you have those ready to go. You won't be doing anything with these, so you can just put them off to the side, but they are ready to go. You're now going to be taking the last 2 small pieces, the ones that are the 2.5 by 5 inches, and then you're just going to put the right sides together, and you're going to sew all along. Of course, leave about maybe a 2 inch open space for you to flip. So right sides together, I would pin it together. Once you've gone through and you sewed all of this, leaving 2 inches, I'd say here, this is probably the best part, open, then you're going to trim your corners, turn it right side out. Now you've gone along and turned it right side out. Instead of just top stitching that 2 inch mark, you're actually just going to start from one end and backstitch and sew all the way down to the other backstitch. And you're going to do that on both sides, so it just kind of looks even. I mean, obviously I used brown thread, so you can't really see it anyways, but you're going to be doing that on both of the long sides. With that piece that you just made, with the small pieces, you're going to now measure about 3.5 inches, and you want it to be right in the center. So this is the big piece. So now you take the big piece that is 35 by 10 inches, and you're going to find 5 inches in the middle here, and then so 5 and 5. Then measure in 3.5 inches, and that is where you're going to be putting this. So again, the middle of this will be here at the middle of this, and you're just going to sew now across the top, backstitch, backstitch, and then sew down here on the bottom, backstitch and backstitch, and then this will be the piece that will hold the ties when you're using this inside your bag. Also, don't forget to put the pins in before you sew this, just so that way it doesn't move. So again, the top and the bottom. Okay, once you've gone ahead and you've attached this small piece to one of the bigger pieces, the 35 by 10, you're actually going to now take the other 35 by 10, and this is actually upside down, and you're going to put the wrong sides together. Okay, and I've actually gone ahead and flipped this over from what I had originally. So I put the wrong sides together, and this is the piece that I had sewn over the big piece before. So that now is on the bottom, but it's still on the right hand side. And then I just went ahead and put the piece that I have done nothing to, the 35 by 10, on top of the other one. Now what I need to do is grab the pocket pieces that I have made, and I'm going to put this on top of here. Now that I've put the pocket on top of the big 35 by 10 stack, and I've aligned it on the side as well as the bottom, I'm going to go ahead now and just sew along the side, making sure that also that I have pinned it down first, because this is a lot of fabric now that I'll be putting through the machine, but I don't want to do any more than just putting on this big pocket. So right around these 3 edges is what I need. Next, you want to take your measuring tape and a fabric marker. I always use a colored pencil. It just works out better for me. And you're going to measure from the right side. You're going to first measure 6 3/4 from the side, and you're going to mark with your pencil. And you can't really see mine because, again, it's yellow. And then you're going to mark from this line 7.5 inches over to here. So here's my next line. Then you're going to go in 5 inches. So you're going to again mark 5 inches. Then you're going to mark 5.5 inches from there. And then last you're going to mark 6 1/4. You can kind of see it here. I marked it down here, marked it in the middle, above and below this, and then I marked it up here above and below this. And then what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to sew down these lines, backstitch. I may in fact actually sew them twice just to reinforce, because you're going through quite a few pieces of fabric here. You're going through 4 pieces of fabric, so I might just go through it twice just to be on the safe side. And again, backstitch at the beginning and at the end, and you'll go through and sew down all those lines. The next thing you want to do is measure to figure out where to pin these straps. And you're going to measure 14.5 inches here from the right side. And then for this one, you are going to measure 11 inches to here to this side. Once these 2 straps are pinned in place, then you can go ahead and baste the top with just a quick little sew at the top of each. Your next step now is to get the second package of bias tape and open that up, and you will be cutting 72 inches or 2 yards of it to make the straps to close it up. So what you'll do is you'll take the ends and then you will fold them down. And you're going to go ahead and sew this shut. Then you're going to sew all along the edge to make it into straps, and then you'll do the same thing along the other side. Open it up, fold it down, and then sew along that edge. And then you will be ready with the straps. And now once you've gone ahead and sewn it, you want to find the middle. And so I've just folded it so I could find the middle here. And then now you're going to look at the left side of your pocket piece, and you want to find the middle of that, which again it's 10, so here's 5. So you're just going to line the middle of the tape up with the middle of this piece, and then you're going to go ahead and just baste it down a quick sew through. Now we're going to work on the very last part. You're going to take your leftover bias tape, which is probably going to be 2 really big pieces, and you could start here with the top left-hand corner, and you're just going to open it up and put the fabric inside. And then you're going to sew all the way along until you get to just before this corner. Then you'll take it out and you, of course, backstitch, and then you will fold the bias tape at an angle, and then you'll pin it again, put it back in your machine, and continue to sew until this runs out. Then you'll want to overlap with the next piece. I don't know, about a ½ inch or so, and then you'll want to do the same thing. Again, stop a little bit before each corner, backstitch, and then you'll want to backstitch at the beginning and before each corner for all of these, and then until you've gone all the way around. This again is the straps that I just made, so those just need to be inside here, so that way they're only getting sewn on the part where I basted. So as you can see, I left a little bit of space here at the top, just in case. I sewed along here, and then I stopped. And then I went ahead and folded it, and then I pinned it all the way down. And again, I'm going to sew until I get just about 1/4 inch. And really, you know, I already have some sew lines there from the basting, so I know when to stop. I'll stop right about here. And then I will take it out of the machine, and then I will fold it again. But I have it pinned, and I'm ready to sew. And again, I'm sewing close to the brown fabric. I've gone through now, and once again I started here, stopped, folded, put it back in, sewed again along here, stopped, folded, put it back in, sewed again along here, stopped, folded, put it in, and sewed along here. But right about here is where I stopped, and then I had to get the second piece of bias tape, which was not a big deal. I folded the end in so it wouldn't have kind of a rough edge, and then I made sure I backstitched here, obviously, and then now I'm all the way to this point. So I have a little bit of extra hanging over. I'm just going to go ahead and cut this off, and then I'm going to fold it. So I sewed about here, and then I backstitched and stopped. So I'll cut it, I'll fold it, and as you can see my son is helping me, and then this will be ready for use. Here is that finished edge. I went ahead and just cut it here, so then I just sewed it along here and sewed it along here, and then it's fine. I have a little to trim. If you want to fold it, then just cut a little bit, maybe a ½ inch more over here, and so that it will easily fold. Otherwise, when you fold, it won't fold here. But this is fine for me. Now you grab your baby supplies. So here is the finished product with some accessories. Here is his thermos, an extra juice box, some wipes. I have my keys attached here. Obviously this is if I'm out and about. Maybe a spot for sunglasses. And we also, I'm using the other carabiner clip for his snack cup. That way it'd be easier to find. Again, here's the reward pocket, so here's if he goes on the potty. Diapers, and then here I have the diaper cream. So what you're going to do is kind of roll this up, and it's going to fit inside your bag. And I will show you that with the next step. So I have my purse, and of course I stood up the liner and inserted. You have your straps. Again, you can tie it tightly so that it won't move around. But also, if you decide to take this stuff out, you can wrap it up and tie it, kind of like the crayon rule tutorial that I posted earlier. And then when you look in, it's instant pockets. And obviously, you know, if you have a smaller bag, there's going to be a little overlapping, but as you saw before, there was a pocket that I just didn't use, so I could just move some of this over. But really, then it's just double layer pockets. So if I have this a little bit, you know, my bag is pretty large, but it's actually not as large as the as this. Again, I just wrap it around, and now I have 2 layers. So you're all set. You can again have one strap go around this side, have the other strap go around this side, and then you can tie them together so that way it stays secure. And you're all set. When you don't have your children with you, you could just take the liner out, and then your purse is yours again, and you don't have to worry about trying to find your checkbook because you're searching through all of this stuff. And then again, if you want to access your purse, you can do so on the sides. You still can get to the pockets of your bag quite easily with this liner, and you're all ready to go.